Do you like to draw portraits? And maybe you want to improve them faster, but at the same time you struggle with perfectionism? Then the 10-minute method might be just the right thing for you. Hi, I'm Sophie. I'm a learning artist and want to share my journey with you. This is also the reason I started this channel, and in fact, this is my very first video. So congratulations, you found me. I'm so glad you're here. Today I want to introduce a drawing method to you which really helped me as a beginner artist. This method allowed me to improve my drawing skills faster. Later in the video I will give you also extra tips for an advanced challenge. So stay tuned. Before I begin, I just wanted to say what English is not my first language, so please be kind if I make any grammar or pronunciation mistakes. Thank you. As the name of the method, the 10-minute method, already suggests, you will set yourself a timer for 10 minutes, and in this time you will try to draw a portrait. You must focus just on the most necessary features of the face. So don't pay too much attention on unnecessary details like accessory, individual hair strains, or maybe even shadows. Most important, don't use your eraser. You might ask why. Many artists struggle with perfectionism. You probably know it. You try to draw an eye over and over again, trying to make it perfect. However, you only have 10 minutes, which means you don't have a lot of time to actually make a perfect drawing or to correct a lot of details. With this method, you want to save time and accept your mistakes as they are, at least while you're drawing. Remember that making mistakes is essential for progress. So let's begin our first portrait. All you need is paper and a pencil, as well as a reference of your choice. Oh, and a timer, of course. I will draw in my sketchbook, which is dedicated to portraits only. I will also use a 2B pencil. Before rushing into the drawing, you can look at the picture for a few seconds. Ask yourself the following questions. What's the face shape? Or where are the eyes directed? Usually when drawing a portrait, I would first draw a rough sketch, erase it and redraw the face with cleaner lines. However, this takes a lot of time, so now I will start with the drawing directly. All your lines will be seen in the end, so your guidelines must be very light and fine. Otherwise, the drawing will look very messy in the end. You could also erase those lines after the timer has finished. In your drawing process, you might notice mistakes or messy lines, but that's okay. Just keep going until the timer is over. It's not our goal to make a perfect drawing, but rather to improve our mistakes later on. When I first tried this method, I couldn't even finish my drawing. I just focused too much on the wrong details and tried to create a perfect picture. I couldn't imagine drawing a portrait within 10 minutes. If you tried it out for the first time, you might come across this problem as well. But remember, it's not our goal to make a perfect copy of a reference, but rather to improve our skills. Finished. This is how this portrait turned out. As you see, it's not perfect, but remember, it is not supposed to be. And now the next step might be even more important than the portrait itself. So if you take anything from this video, it's the following. Reflect your drawing process. Because learning and developing an art doesn't just mean to finish a drawing or a picture or a painting. It means to actually analyze your mistakes so you can improve them later. So ask yourself the following questions. What was good? Like, what do you like about this drawing? But also, what could improve? Maybe look at your line work. Was it very messy? Maybe you couldn't finish the drawing at all because you got lost in tiny details which are not even that significant. So let's reflect on my drawing. There are two aspects I want to improve. First is my lines. They look very messy and kind of unintentional or random sometimes. So next time I should focus on it more. The second thing is the facial expression. It doesn't really match the reference. The eyes look in the wrong direction. On my drawing, it seems like the person is looking on the viewer. However, on the reference, she looks down. So I should try to fix it in my next drawing. Now I will draw another portrait, again using the 10-minute method, but this time I will pay extra attention on the mistakes I made right now. So let's get started. This time I want to focus more on the facial expression and especially the eyes. Another reason I really like this method is because it also helps me to get out of art block. If you think about it, 10 minutes is not a lot of time, so it doesn't seem like a burden. Also, you know from the beginning that you don't want a perfect result. So your expectations are not that high as usual. Also think it's great if you don't have a lot of time for drawing in general, but again, just sitting down for 10 minutes can help a lot. If you want to challenge yourself a little more, here are some additional steps to consider. Choose a more difficult reference. It really depends on your skill level or how you define a difficult reference. However, you could just try out different things. For example, faces with heavy shadows or unusual perspective. Or maybe just very expressive and emotional faces. For more variety, you could try to draw people of different ages or ethnicities. Use different pens. Fine liners, for example, work great because there is no way of erasing or correcting your mistakes. This way you can focus more on intentional line work. Last but not least, you could give yourself even less than 10 minutes. Maybe try to draw for only 7 minutes, or even just 5. Now I want to show you all the drawings I made. I could definitely see some progress. For example, in my second drawing, I really paid attention to the expression. However, I still wasn't happy with the lines. As you see, I used multiple lines just for the outline of a face. And this gives a very unclean and messy look. So in my third portrait, I tried to use my lines more intentional. You can see it worked pretty well. Because, for example, for the jawline, I used only a single line. For my last picture, I tried to draw with a fine liner. And I'm gonna be honest, it was difficult because I didn't use any guidelines. This is quite unusual for me. However, I still really liked the result. It also took me less time it just took me 7 minutes. And I would in general say that you get better and faster with every drawing you make. So don't give up and just learn from your mistakes. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and maybe you will even try out the method yourself. Tell me about your experience. Maybe you tried something different and actually saw some progress. I would love hearing about it. Also, thank you so much if you made it to the end of this video. I really appreciate it. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye!